Hello, and welcome back to Road TRIpVIA, the once-a-day road trip trivia quiz. Today's episode, number 867, the category, Villains That We Love to Hate. This whole quiz was sent in by a viewer named Jessica D. She sent in this one and at least one other one, I think, and I'll have that coming up later this week. Jessica, thank you for sending these in. Great questions here. 21 questions about villains that we love to hate. Question number 1. She is no friend of animals unless she is wearing them, and she will go to extreme lengths to get what she wants. What Disney villain said, "I live for fur, I worship fur"? After all, is there a woman in this wretched world who doesn't? That Disney villain is Cruella de Vil. Question number 2. It wasn't his choice to come into the world. This modern Prometheus never meant anyone any harm, but they kept pushing him until he reacted as they had expected. He was more of an innocent, ill-treated child than a monster. The real villain was what doctor that brought him to life? The answer is Dr. Frankenstein. Question number 3. You could use this villain's nickname to describe someone using or dealing in cocaine. Say hello to my little friend. This quote, made by what movie villain, has since become a phrase to indicate someone's intention to do something huge and most likely destructive? His nickname was Scarface. His name is Tony Montana. Question number 4. The more annoying than evil villain in this charming Colorado town learned his swear word vocabulary from a movie with Terrence and Phillip. What boy always finds a way to annoy his friends, Kyle, Kenny, and Stan, as well as the local teachers and townspeople? His name is Cartman, Eric Cartman. Question number 5. He was usurped as the vilest villain in the world and decided to reclaim his title by stealing the moon. What is the name of this villain who adopted 3 daughters as his cover, but failed as the world's worst villain? It was inevitable because no one with little yellow henchmen could be all that evil. His name is Gru. Question number 6. All work and no play makes him a dull boy. He wasn't going to hurt anyone, he was just going to bash their brains in. Maybe if the Overlook Hotel had other guests, what villain might not have gone off the deep end? That villain is from The Shining. His name is Jack Torrance. Question number 7. He's a drunk, a thief, and even his dwarf assistant hates him as much as everyone else does. While casing out the mall they are going to rob on Christmas Eve, what villain stays as a guest in the house of Thurman Merman, who is being raised by his probably senile grandmother? His name is Willie Soak, known as the Bad Santa. Question number 8. This bad guy was twisted from his earliest days in the orphanage. He created multiple copies of his soul, but didn't figure on one of them being the boy hero who would be his downfall. What was the name of this no-nosed villain? The answer is Voldemort. Question number 9. This man was a powerful and vicious force behind the mob boss. He worked for the boss because he chose to, not because he was forced to. Somehow it made him deadlier. Though now, what is the name of this villain that is sleeping with the fishes? From The Godfather, that villain is Luca Brasi. Question number 10. He killed his brother and planned to kill his nephew, his lust for the throne so great. However, being evil and cunning did not prepare this villain to lead, and the Pride Lands fell to ruin under his leadership. When his own hyena henchmen turned against him, his fate was sealed. Mufasa's brother, Scar, from The Lion King. Question 11. Though you might try to avoid sleeping, you are only human and will sleep eventually. I guess this nightmare knows that, so he stalks his victims with confidence and patience, knowing he'll get them in the end. What is the name of this burn victim turned villain? The Nightmare on Elm Street, his name is Freddy Krueger. Question number 12. This Shakespearean villain's plot to destroy the Moor relied on the gullibility of the Moor. What man manipulated circumstances to suggest the infidelity of the Moor's wife, then stood back to watch the man kill her? His name was Iago. Question 13. This villain was extremely intelligent. Unlike most serial killers, he is capable of empathy, and it is this empathy that allowed him to mentor an FBI trainee named Clarice, even from behind the bars of a cell. What is the name of this fava beans and Chianti-loving villain? His name is Hannibal Lecter. Question 14. This villainous clown hides his sharp, rotting teeth behind his grease paint and lives in the sewers of Derry, making this town one to avoid. What is the name of this villain who charms children to join him down where they all float? That clown's name is Pennywise. Question 15. When Kevin is accidentally left home alone during the holidays, what two villains go to battle against him in order to rob his family's house? But, walking through broken ornaments, getting hit in the face with irons, and being attacked by pet tarantulas put a stop to them. The wet bandits' names were Harry and Marv. Question 16. He thought $1 million was a large ransom to demand, but remember, he had been frozen for 30 years and $1 million meant a lot more back in the 1960s. What comical villain's go-to plan is, just do what we always do, hijack some nuclear weapons and hold the world hostage? His name is Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers movies. Question 17. It was probably an overbearing mother and repressed feelings that created what classic Hitchcock villain who acted out against his mother and then against every attractive female who checked into his hotel. From the movie Psycho, his name was Norman Bates. Question 18, that's some bad hat, Harry. This villain was scary enough that scores of people reported not feeling safe enough to gargle again, let alone swim in the ocean. The iconic background music that played before each imminent attack from what villain caused chills right down our spines? The nickname was Jaws, but if you said the shark from Jaws, that will also work. Question 19. He could defeat armies single-handedly and even choke enemies from across the room. In the original films, we knew he was an evil ruler of a galaxy for over 20 years, but it took the prequels for us to learn that what villain was more of a victim of evil than evil himself? His name was Anakin Skywalker, but we know him as Darth Vader. Question 20. Smooth, urbane, and educated, he was a villain unlike the usual. Mistaken for a terrorist, the law played right into his hands and he was able to get past Nakatomi Plaza's security system. What man's arrogance and attitude and fake American accent made him an exceptional thief? His name was Hans Gruber from Die Hard. Alright, that's it for today. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this quiz was sent in by Jessica D. She's a viewer of the channel. She sent it in. She sent in another before and after quiz. I'd like to do that one sometime this week. Jessica, thank you for sending this in. I assume I'm going to go with my gut feeling here and say that most people enjoyed this trivia quiz as much as I did. I love a good themed trivia quiz, and Villains That We Love to Hate was a perfect one. Thank you for writing this quiz. Thank you everybody for watching this quiz. We do have one more question coming up, the tiebreaker for today's trivia. Question number 21. Her name is now used for any sadistic, controlling woman, especially a nurse or someone in a position of authority. What villainous caretaker that ruled over the cuckoo's nest with a mean streak, being especially unkind to patient Randall McMurphy? From the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or Cuckoo's Nest, her name was Nurse Ratched. Nurse Ratched. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Jessica, for sending in the trivia quiz. Check back tomorrow for another Brainy Tuesday, and I hope you have a great week.